Hello there, friends. Ian here. Zuko is one of the most memorable characters in cartoon history. While Avatar the Last Airbender may not be a book but a TV show, you can still learn a lot about what makes a good character arc from Zuko's alone. His story is one I and many others will remember for the rest of our lives because of how powerful the story told was. It is as powerful and engaging as most anything else that comes out today, if not more so. Today we're going to go into what makes Zuko's character arc so powerful and makes it up there with the best of the best when it comes to character arcs. With that being said, let's get into it. Alongside Aang and the others, Zuko's story plays almost parallel to what's going on with the main group of characters. In the beginning of the story, Zuko is an impulsive, arrogant, and angry person who has been banished from his own home, banished from the throne, and being crowned prince of the Fire Nation. All of this over disrespecting a general in a war meeting and refusing to fight his father in an Agni Kai. This spurs him along on his journey to find the Avatar, which he will not be allowed home without. What makes this so hard is that the Avatar hasn't even been seen in 100 years. Up until we see Zuko for the first time in the story, this is what he has been dealing with for the entire lead up to what this series is going to end up being. When in the South Pole, Zuko sees a bright beam of light go into the sky, he knows that he has found the Avatar, and that he will be able to go home if he just captures him and brings him to his father. We see his so-called brutality that he gets from his father when they attack the South Pole, which is just a village at this point. Zuko grabs Katara's grandmother and threatens her if they do not hand over the Avatar, who has left the area. Aang comes back, but of course Zuko gets what he wants. He gets the Avatar under the condition that he leaves the South Pole alone. And these are Aang's conditions. Zuko accepts these conditions and brings the Avatar aboard his ship. Once Aang escapes his ship, this begins Zuko's quest to chase after Aang to the ends of the earth to capture him and reclaim his honor. This is what we call a want or a lie. A want or a lie of the character is what the character thinks they need to reach fulfillment in their life. Zuko's want, which is all we know at the point of the story, is that he wants to capture the Avatar to return home and reclaim his honor and throne. The other part of this is that he wants to achieve his father's love and his affection, which he has been starved of throughout his entire life, ever since his mother disappeared. This want will keep coming back over and over throughout his character arc. And this is true for every form of writing you have. Your want will stay with the character until they either accept or decline to accept the truth. In the episode titled The Storm, we get to see exactly how Zuko's banishment happened. This gives us insight as to why his want is so powerful and why that is what he wants. In this episode, Zuko gets angry at one of his sailors, but later the sailors are told by Iroh how Zuko was banished and why he wants to chase after the Avatar so much. He earns some respect from his sailors after he goes up the bridge to save the helmsman of his ship who fell off during the storm and was hanging on for dear life. When Aang flies over them, Zuko says to just let them go because he knows that the crew need rest and the ship needs repairs. This shows us some of the inner kindness he has. We don't get to learn much about his good side until later in the story, so that's when we'll save it for. In the Siege of the North episodes, Zuko again is trying to go after Aang. He successfully beats Katara and takes Aang up over the North Pole and tries to make his escape, but he's stuck in a blizzard. When the crew rescue Aang and save Zuko, Zuko shows more kindness when he goes to Admiral Zhao to fight him for trying to have him killed in a previous episode. When the Aang fish spirit tries to take Admiral Zhao and pull him under the water, Zuko reaches out his hand and says to grab his hand. This, again, even though Zhao decides not to take his hand, shows that Zuko does have good in him. During the entire first season, Zuko is Aang's main antagonist. At the end of season 1, he begins to transition into more of an anti-hero. At the end, he knows that his search is over, at least for now. And him and his uncle Iroh float for 3 weeks on a small piece of driftwood. What I forgot to mention is the effect Iroh really had on beginning his character arc early. Iroh is the opposite of Zuko's father. Iroh is calm and peaceful compared to the rude, warmongering Fire Lord. We see Iroh treat Zuko like a son, and he's trying to push him on the right path. Iroh even tells Zuko in the last episodes of the season, "Ever since I lost my son, I think of you as my own." Iroh is trying his best to put Zuko on the right path, and that continues to happen throughout the series. In the second season, you really start to see Zuko's character arc kick off. We have seen some kindness in him, but he hasn't really changed yet. During a visit he receives from his younger sister Azula, and she tells him they can return home and Zuko can reclaim his lost honor, and that his father told her to tell him that family is the only thing they can trust. Of course, Azula lies. One of the sailors on her ship accidentally lets his mouth slip and calls them prisoners. And this is when the truth kind of starts to reveal itself. The truth, or the need of the character, is what a character really needs to achieve fulfillment in their life. The truth Zuko needs to understand throughout the story is that his father never really loved him. He is abusive and a poor father overall. He has to come up with his own way to redeem himself and reclaim his honor that does not have to do with his father. Of course, he doesn't know this yet, but if you catch it, you can tell as a viewer how that truth reveals itself, just ever so slightly. One of the best episodes of the series to encompass his character arc is titled Zuko Alone. Here, he separates from his uncle and finds a village that he goes to meet in the middle of the Earth Kingdom. Now, the Earth Kingdom has been at war with the Fire Nation for 100 years. So obviously, these Earth Kingdom people are not going to be too fond of Fire Nation people, especially if you are a prince. This is where he truly starts to see what damage the Fire Nation has caused. Even after helping a boy he befriends escape from Earth Kingdom thugs, when he firebends, everyone hates him, even the boy he saved. The Fire Nation has caused so much damage. This episode begins to highlight the inner struggles even more, as Zuko gets to see that what his father says this war is all about really does not translate to how people believe it to be. In this same episode, we also get to learn about his mother, Ursa, and how she helps him grow when he's young, before she disappears into the night. Ursa and Iroh are where Zuko's kindness come from. This side of Zuko growing up conflicted with how his father was raising him. And eventually it started to overtake his character, which is why we see him like he is in season 1. In another episode, Zuko tries to bend lightning, but he can't because of the inner turmoil he has. The next few times, and even before this, we see Zuko and Iroh pretending to be Earth Kingdom refugees from the war, heading to the impenetrable city of Ba Sing Se. The most important part of his arc comes here. This also comes in the form of one of the most impactful speeches in cartoon history. This comes in the episode Lake Laogai, where Zuko realizes that Aang is missing his bison, Appa. Zuko goes to find Appa, presumably to capture the bison himself to lure Aang out, or even to kill the bison. However, Iroh finds him before he can do anything and tells him this, along with his speech. It's time for you to look inward and start asking yourselves the big questions. Who are you and what do you want? Zuko ends up releasing Appa and getting sick the next episode. When he finally comes out of the sickness, Zuko is happier and more joyful than he has been in the past. The crossroads come up just the next episodes after. Zuko is captured by Azula along with Katara, and they have a chat. After Katara is able to escape, Azula talks to Zuko and tells him that if he joins her, he can reclaim everything he's ever wanted to. Even though Iroh is begging Zuko to not go this direction, Zuko goes, and he forsakes his uncle and his teachings and decides to go with Azula and his father and get everything he has ever wanted. Finally, he can go home. Zuko is welcomed home as a hero, but he doesn't feel like everything is right. Even though he has been welcomed back with open arms, he realizes that he is being manipulated, even though he's supposed to have been welcomed home kindly and with those open arms he seemed to have gotten at the beginning. Here, the stage is set for Zuko's character arc to end and for his changes to finally take a real effect. Until now, he hasn't fully grasped the truth, but that is slowly coming to him. This is when Zuko finally becomes a hero. Especially in the episode titled The Beach, we get to see Zuko's inner turmoil reaching its peak. We learn Zuko is having doubts about his actions, about what he did. He is very confused about what is right and what is wrong. This gets even worse when Zuko learns his maternal and paternal great-grandfathers are both part of this war. Fire Lord Sozin is his paternal great-grandfather, and Avatar Roku, which the Fire Lord killed, is his maternal great-grandfather. So he has the conflict on both sides of his blood. After all this turmoil settles in his system, he finally grasps the truth completely, comes to accept it and hold it close to his heart. The need and the truth he learned throughout his journey from Iroh, from his mother before she disappeared. Everything starts to make sense to him. He confronts Ozai during the Day of the Black Sun, and this is an eclipse where the sun is blocked and stops firebending from working. He holds his father there with swords, and he is going to tell him how bad of a father he was and what he is doing is wrong. For so long, all I wanted was for you to love me, to accept me. I thought it was my honor I wanted, but really, I was just trying to please you. You, my father, who banished me just for talking out of turn. My father, who challenged me, a 13-year-old boy, to an Agni Kai. How could you possibly justify a duel with a child? He tells him he is going to join Team Avatar, and is able to redirect the lightning his father sends at him when the eclipse ends. He uses this to escape, after which he steals a balloon and follows Team Avatar, because he is planning on joining them now. This final scene cements his character arc for most people who have watched the series. Of course, there are other episodes where he grows, but his character arc is done here. At the very end of the story, for helping Aang defeat Ozai and the Fire Nation in the war that has lasted 100 years, Zuko is given the throne of the Fire Nation and is crowned Fire Lord Zuko. These last parts of the series are what makes Zuko's character arc mean so much to people, and why it will be remembered as one of the best character arcs ever made. He goes from being impulsive, angry, to being calmer, to being able to think through his thoughts and get things done, and figure out that the truth is what he needs to hold on to. He held this truth close to his heart, and it bettered him because of it. There are plenty of reasons why Zuko's character arc is so good. The first reason is that it is a very deep character arc to a very deep character. Where a lot of people fall short is making a character arc not deep enough. The next reason is that Zuko is already an interesting character, but adding this kind of character development on top of it makes it even more of an interesting character. The next reason is that his changes feel real and authentic. A lot of writers and authors make the changes either too quick, too slow, too sudden. Changes of character happen slowly over the course of a story or a life. It doesn't happen simultaneously at the end. It doesn't happen immediately at the beginning. It's a slow process. His change from bad to good is one of the most authentic changes you can get on a TV show or anything else. And I wouldn't be surprised if people have talked hours about this. Zuko's arc is very well done, and I might say almost, if not perfect. Zuko continues to be one of my favorite characters of all time, and his character arc being probably one of my favorites. Without Zuko, Avatar the Last Airbender would feel less impactful than it did. Zuko's character arc is what grabs most people's attention in the series. And that's probably a lie, because there are plenty of reasons why you would want to be introduced and love this series the way that I do. Zuko follows his heart and makes questionable decisions on his way to being good. But this is just part of what makes his character arc so good and lovable. He's a very confused person until the end of the series, and this is when he finally has a path. His character arc is powerful and sends messages through loneliness, depression, and family. And that is why Zuko's character arc is more or less perfect. I hope after you've watched this video, if you aren't one of those people who agree with me, then I hope you agree with me now. Comment below your favorite moments through Zuko's journey. And if there's anything I missed in this video, please let me know as well. I hope you enjoyed and that this video helped you. If it did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as I post videos like this every Sunday. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!